2. Welcome to the Wadio show, the Wadio show, the Wadio show. Welcome to 2000,
Welcome to the
2000,
radio
2000,
show.
2020, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 23, 23, 23, 23, 23, 23, 20 me, 23, 23, 23, 23. 2, 2, 2, 10.
All right, now we got to start talking.
All right, so Lenny Bruce's mom sent him off when he was 9 years old. He grew up in kind of the vaudeville New York scene. His mom was a dancer, and she wanted to pursue a career. So at 9 years old, she was like, "I can't take care of you anymore." And she sent him off, and he lived with his family apparently.
Okay.
And for a long time, but he left when he was 16 and he joined the Navy.
But do you know where he lived?
I don't know. It might have been Indiana or something. I think it might have been Indiana.
Interesting. James Dean went to go live with his aunt and uncle at the age of 8, and he left when he was 16. Isn't that wild?
That is crazy. He grew up in Belmore and attended Wellington and Memphis. According to his biography, during the high school years, lived at the Dangler farm he lived at the farm, see, in upstate New York. Okay. It was in upstate New York. So it wasn't in Indiana. My bad. I got
but
that
still,
wrong.
he lived in a farm.
Yeah. And then he left, and at 16, 17, he joined the military, apparently. And in the Korean War and like had some like fierce combat and stuff.
Wow.
So that's where we're at.
Okay. I know
go ahead.
I was just saying that I know we were talking about his wife, Honey, and him, and just they kind of sound like almost like nemesis, like couple from a Avengers movie or something, like the crazy drug addict comical guy with his lesbian wife who sleeps with everything, and they're up to something for drugs. It's a perfect thing for Batman to take care
of. Well, and this is where these super villains, they're super vixen villains come from. I don't know. Super villainesses come from, is from this Poison Ivy, Batgirl, Catgirl, come from Honey.
It's got to be based on some crazy cats or some mythological characters, usually a blend of both, right?
Or real people such as Lenny Bruce. And
I kind of want to be a nemesis character in a movie where I'm Lenny Bruce, drug addict guy, like Joker.
Honey Harlow. Honey Harlow.
What a name. What a name.
Honey.
So show a picture of Honey. She really is a honey. She's gorgeous. She's pretty young lady. Look at that. She's like a starlet, dude. She's a beautiful, beautiful woman.
No.
There's Lenny looking like he.
So that knocks out Dorothy Kilgallen and all those people. And there's a difference, between a big piece of art with a little shit in the middle, a big piece of art, a little shit in the middle, a big piece of art, and a big piece of shit with a little art in the middle, a big piece of shit with art. You don't.
That's 8 seconds.
Dude, that was 6 3/4, dude. We're rounding down, okay? Let's round down for once in our lives instead of rounding up. Everybody's like, round up. No. Let's round down.
It's cool. Everything's in your name right now. You'd be the one sued. I have nothing to do with it. I don't care.
The earth is spinning backwards now. The molten lava is starting the center core is, so we can round down a little bit more often than we usually.
There's got to be some time-space continuum problems.
Yeah.
Maybe a little.
It's not my fault, dude. This is not my fault. Okay.
Your Honor, it's the time-space continuum. Didn't you know about the fold in space?
You ever heard of Honey So he gets together. He dresses up when he's in this fierce combat on this ship, and he starts dressing up as this woman and like doing pranks on all these people on the ship, all his shipmates. And he gets in trouble and gets thrown out of the army or the Navy, and then proceeds to get arrested again for dressing up as a priest and begging for money in New York.
Well,
So then
I
he
mean,
goes out to LA.
yeah, I love the dressed up as a priest part because it's such a great con. I mean, that had to work for a while. He was doing that and then he was going to get his hard drugs. I love it. He was asking all these people as a priest for cash all day long. He probably had a great hug jerker or, heart jerker story that he was telling to get the cash. And then he'd go and do that cocktail. What's that cocktail again?
He was doing, but Honey was doing it too, because she was kind of gay. She really was into women and stuff. And so she was, but they were doing meth, heroin, and what was the third one?
Dilaudid.
So they meth, heroin, and Dilaudid, which kind of.
And I'm not going to do the dance on the computer, but I wonder if that cocktail has a name. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm kind of blown away when you just told me that he grew up in upstate New York from 8 to 16. It's exactly what happened with James Dean. It's so weird. Yeah, James Dean's mom died when he was 8, and he was living in Los Angeles with his mom and dad. And he went back with his mom's coffin and his aunt back to Indiana and started living there for the next 8-9 years because his dad fell apart. So it's just so weird. They were the same age. So Lenny Bruce's mom didn't die, but she said,
no, they got back together after he got out of the Navy.
But that happens in families all the time. It makes sense.
Went to LA, and
he had to work fucking 16 hours a day, and she couldn't take care of her kids, so she had family members stand in the gap. It's very normal. I think that happens all the time.
Yeah, there's a part of like where he starts to like, I mean, she raised him in the scene.
Yeah.
And so he was very much a part of that whole like
he was like born into vaudeville type
late
stuff.
night, the vaud late night like scene. Like he was born in the stages. Like that's where his mom danced, and he met Honey, and they went out to LA, and they had a daughter, and she's cool. There's videos on her. She's really cool, the daughter.
Oh, cool.
She talks about, you want to see some of that? She talks about her dad and stuff or whatever.
What, for 6 seconds?
No, she's like, they were using drugs. They go to the bathroom and
right,
hour and stuff, but they lived in this huge mansion or whatever. And so he was just traveling around, basically doing his stand-up, getting arrested everywhere, and that led to all these giant lawsuits and stuff.
Right. And then he lost his everything, right? He couldn't even do gigs after a while, right? Like they shut him down.
The FBI was, or whoever was doing it, the local police were telling these club owners, like, we're going to shut you down for this drugs and these prostitutes and all this other shit if you keep Lenny Bruce on the stage. So the drug, or the club owners, they didn't want anything to do with Lenny.
Their hands were tied.
They tried to support him, but they couldn't because the heat was coming on him in other ways.
Yeah. So he came with a baggage load. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting, man. See, when I thought about, I've known about Lenny Bruce for a long time, and usually kind of held him up as like a pioneer of comedy, and which he was. But I knew that he was a drug addict. I knew that he played in seedy clubs and stuff, but I never really thought about like the way he was living his life outside of it. And he was like a dirty street rat who was getting in trouble, not just with the police, but with the guys on the street all the time, because he'd throw people under the bus. He created quite a storm around him, man.
Oh, his daughter Kitty His daughter Kitty, that's who it is.
Wished her dad was a plumber. I get it.
Yeah, Lenny, I guess, was in LA towards the end, and like, or no, maybe San Francisco, and Honey had just gotten out of jail or whatever, and then he did some huge thing, and some bus came. That's why they all thought he was involved with like the because he was snitching on everybody. They thought he was like an informant or whatever, which he was, documented by all these cops or whatever, and he
Right.
was just selling people out from to keep his own skin in the end, and he literally sold Honey out to the informant to like be, she did like 2 years
Yeah, I
and
know.
then
That
came back
says
to
so.
him.
See, I didn't even catch that in the movie that Fosse directed, about Lenny Bruce, called Lenny. Dustin Hoffman plays Lenny Bruce. They show when she went to jail, but they didn't really cover how he threw her under the bus and she like took the hit. It's kind of what the guy is supposed to do in a way. Wow. So that says a lot about his character, right? Or at least I'd say his drug influence state of being. And, you just hear this stuff all the time about these guys. I mean, when Richard Pryor, he literally set himself on fire, not on purpose, but he was doing a speedball, and his life was a wreck before then. And then after that,
Back and forth in the hospital. I wasn't aware of the fact that court transcripts and there was a lot of stuff with court going on. All I knew is that the house was falling apart and that my father wasn't looking too well. And that
Yeah, I mean, she says it right there. She's the house, they live in the mansion, the $1 million gazebo, like things are.
seemingly
So anyways,
great.
they're doing meth, heroin, and Dilaudid in the
You said every day?
yeah, towards the end apparently, and he got a hot fix, and they were suspect because he was involved in so much snitching and so much police activity and FBI informant kind of shit that they might have given him the fix
Well,
that did him
look,
in, because apparently he was doing so much shit like you couldn't kill him, like it was
well,
weird.
here's the thing. So he that kind of addiction, that level of addiction, you serve the beast, right? He was about the fix. And when he had cops and that kind of heat on him, they knew he was connected to all these drug worlds all over the place. So they made him an informant through pressure. And he started throwing all his drug dealers under the bus. Is that what you're saying? That's who he was screwing over?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his days were numbered. I mean, he was getting it from all sides. The only way he could have gotten out of it is to literally get clean and then maybe become a lawyer and fight for, the right to speak or something. But yeah, he was on a crazy train. And so the crazy train never goes too far. It always goes off the rails. Freaking Geraldo Rivera. That guy.
Geraldo.
I don't understand a little art. It's one big piece of shit. That's where they're going, hardcore pornography. They're going, no, you don't understand. I said, look, the boat's sailing. This is 4 years for me now.
It's
My
kind
attorney,
of a bummer.
that's our
I
witness.
don't like that I can't listen to him.
How do you figure that? Because the dummy didn't understand it. Some experts they got.
I can't
I
stand
said, well, I don't understand it either. It's just
we can't really hear him do
nonsense, then.
stand up.
They understand it. Fuck will understand.
So I don't know if he, somebody like this, he was kicked out of Las Vegas, officially, arrested.
How do you get kicked out of Las Vegas?
He was
How do you
literally
even get kicked out of Las
he was
Vegas?
kicked out of Las Vegas, arrested in New York, for a huge, the big one happened in New York. It was a huge trial, and that pretty much did him in.
Okay.
So, Lenny Bruce, the best most famous free speech artist on the planet. Yeah, gets kicked out of the place that represents America the most.
But he
New
was
York
walking
City.
a high wire in every which way but loose. So of course that stuff happened to him. I didn't know the extent to which his trouble came from his lifestyle. I thought it was mostly pressure that came from him speaking out. I didn't realize the level of how his addiction was running him into the ground because they just leveraged his position to get him to tell on people. Man, yeah, that kind of thing, it's bound to happen if you live that lifestyle with that realm of people. But I think what's more important about him is like what he accomplished. Because I don't know, I think it's kind of weird. You know, you'd think that somebody that's like a pioneer of free speech would be an upstanding guy, right? Some church going, clean cut
Right, Buddy Hackett.
guy. But
Bruce was roommate of comedian Buddy Hackett in 1950.
Buddy Hackett, great comedian.
Appeared in the Munsell Show.
I saw Buddy Hackett, by the way, when I was like 20 years old.
No shit.
Yeah. He was funny.
Honey and Lenny's daughter Kitty was born in 1955. They had a tumultuous relationship.
I know, but
domestic incidences occurred.
But I think that this aspect of his life, it helps to make a full picture, to kind of make some things make sense. I just don't think that it's the most important thing about him. Today, Lenny Bruce would not be able to do stand-up comedy. He wouldn't be allowed at all because of cancel culture and stuff. Lenny Bruce would never have his voice heard. They'd shut him down. They'd cancel him all over the place. He wouldn't make any money. He wouldn't have a voice. He wouldn't have a microphone.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of, you like to think in terms of like, oh, it's been 40 years since that guy died. This is how much we've progressed, but we haven't. We've regressed. That stage for an open voice like that, the door is closed right now. The only comedians that you see on Netflix and stuff, you can tell that they have to serve an agenda. They bring up the same subjects. All these comedians bring up the same damn subjects, or they weave it into their routine. What was it that you said that you saw? Louis C.K. Talk about that experience.
So it was an amazing show. Opened up, bought it online. You could stream it live. Opener was fun, cool. Second opener came out, cool, fun, awesome, great jokes. And then she does something about like a child molestation. I was like, oh, okay. Whatever. And then she was like, oh yeah, but then when children get fucked. And I'm like, whoa. And then she like ended with a cool joke. And I'm like, whoa, that was really strange.
So it's kind of like, did it not fit with other jokes she was telling? Like just all of a sudden popped out of there?
Yeah. And then Louis C.K. does 45 minutes. And then I'm just like, oh, this is awesome. He's like, and then when you fuck children, I was like, what?
Like out of nowhere, right?
I was like, oh my God, dude, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah. And then like and I was like, okay. And then I turned it off, and I was like, okay, like why did we go from such a funny routine to an agenda? And why was it that one?
I know. Look, what I can understand is that, stand-up comedians that really make it to the top of the food chain, they've woodshedded what they do oftentimes for decades before people know who they are. And it's that kind of like the same thing as Lenny Bruce. They'll do anything, just to get on stage. They'll play at the pizza shop, they'll play at the stand-up shop, they'll freaking do it at a brothel. They don't care. They just need stage time to develop. And then they put in all this time to develop their craft as artists. And now the only way you get paid the good money is to drop a pedophile joke out of nowhere or a freaking abortion
Right.
rights joke
Right.
out of nowhere.
Right.
You know, because Louis C.K. did that. Somebody told me that he was doing great because he was selling his show through his website and he made big money. And they recommended that I check it out. I asked if it was on Netflix and they said, I think so, but it wasn't. But they had a Louis C.K. show from 2017. So I watched it and he walks out on stage and he's like, so abortion. I'm like, fucking A, are you kidding me? You're going to start your show by so abortion. And then he's talking about how it's basically cool. I'm like, all right, they're paying him to say this. Like, you know, but it's all these big comedians. It's like they'll be like saying some kind of witty joke. You know, I've got a map of the United States, life size, funny joke. That's Stephen Wright. But dude, and then all of a sudden he goes, you know what? I was fucking my mom the other day and she got an abortion. I'm like, where did that come from? You know, because it doesn't fit with like the storyline. But I guess to get paid, you got to talk about the same issues. And I guess every comedian must agree about all the same issues that I see on Netflix. It's ridiculous. I can't stand it, man. It's too controlled. It's too controlled. I'd rather work at Dunkin' Donuts than freaking go into a place where I refine my craft and then they tell me how I have to talk to get paid. You know, the whole point of being a stand-up comedian is you want people to know your individual voice and your perspective, which is kind of like usually encircling a little higher in the sky.
So I had to buy him again.
There it is. But you know what I'm saying? It's like
To a house. I also bought some batteries, but they weren't included.
I love Stephen Wright. But can you imagine? So Stephen Wright wasn't hindered in the 80s when he was big from being able to do his he was kind of like the Far Side on stage in a way. You know, he thought so far outside the box.
It's a really good analogy.
But if somebody was trying to tell him what he needed to interject into those routines so he could get paid, it would not have been good. You know, he had freedom at least to use his voice as a comedian. And that's what you heard. Same with Lenny Bruce. But today, I don't know, man. There's good comedians out there. I think Louis C.K. is pound for pound a damn good comedian. He knows the craft. He absolutely worked it for 20, 30 years, you can tell. But, you know, maybe the way that they're controlling his narrative is why he had to whack off in front of some chick to alleviate the stress.
No, it's to blackmail him. It was so he had to perform an act of blackmail in public. That was his ritual.
Maybe
they set him up for.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, it was. And then
it's fine. I mean, probably. I don't know.
He had to publicly disgrace himself and humiliate himself to get to the next level.
You mean like Chris Rock when he got the fake slap from Will Smith?
Yeah, that's all leveling up. Like,
yeah, right. You're getting ready for the next 33rd degree Mason star.
Yeah. And they have a lawsuit on that. And, you know, there's lots of.
They don't care. It's all a freaking shell game.
It's a show.
I don't really even care when people don't.
Well, it's Marvel versus DC. You know, it goes back to that. It's the red, blue Marvel versus DC.
Yeah, I remember
each other and use each other's strategies and don't come up with anything.
Jared Leto, he was on this panel of actors, like an actors forum. And, you know, I don't know how. He's a big rock and roll star in some places in the world. with his band, which is terrible. He should be shot for that band. But he was sitting there on this round table and he's like, yeah, man, my band's being sued for $33 million right now. And I'm like, for what? What could you have possibly done? It's probably because he sings so bad. But anyways, these guys don't care. Like that's just some kind of game. He probably had to suck a donkey's dick and then it was fine again. I don't know, man.
Let's look that up. Jared Leto sucking donkey dick. There's gotta be a Jerrad Lettotsuck. That's enough. I don't want all the algorithms.
He is a good actor, but damn, that guy's got to stop playing music publicly. He needs music lessons.
Oh
man.
my God, check this out, Dave. Look at this shit. I found something crazy. Look at this. Okay, so here's Bruce. And when you go down, where is it? Where did it go? Okay, hold on. I'm gonna find it. It was glue sniffing. Jokes that might like a routine on airplane glue sniffing. Teenagers that was done live for the Stephen Allen show. He did a bit on glue sniffing. Okay, so where did it say? Oh my God, you have to see this. It was up here. It was just like this weird, like golden altar, like that was connected to him. It was really strange.
Connected to Lenny Bruce?
Yeah, I can't find it at the moment. Hold on, I had it up.
Well, don't worry, but just describe it. It's okay. You can't find it. No big deal.
Yeah, it was on
What is
his
it?
Wikipedia page.
What is it?
It looked like a stand, a wooden stand, and then it had like a gold stem that came up with like a circle, like a gold.
Sounds like an Oscar.
Yeah, it was an award. That's what it was.
Oh, it was an award.
Yeah, look at this award.
Oh, you're just saying that the award that it's like kind of esoteric and strange or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Legacy.
Well, I mean, that's a whole other rabbit hole, buddy. That's a whole other rabbit hole, I'll tell you. Hi, Sheila.
Oh,
My
here
dog.
it is.
She's like, "Where's my food? I'm getting it for you." Say hi to the camera. So it's not worth looking for at this point. I trust you. It's just, people will click off. They'll leave if we do this.
Well, fuck them.
Okay. Kiss my ass, audience members. I don't want to get paid. Well, but do you remember what it was from? Like what the award was from?
No, I can't. No.
Okay.
Totally.
Yeah, in a way that well, anyway, so I'm trying to think about so what do you think about the fact that he wouldn't even be able to do stand up today? And what does that say about the world we live in today?
That we're
Going backward?
tied up. Yeah, he was he was in there, bro. He was really in there, and it was not a joke anymore. It wasn't funny anymore, you know.
What
Like
wasn't funny though?
well, the fact that it wasn't like they were setting him up and using him, and then you know, respecting him and loving him and showing up at his shows, and their friends would come. You know, these cops were getting their friends in and shit, and you know, then they'd arrest him right after the show, and you're like, dude, I just entertained, like, you know, all of the buddies, everybody, like, we're doing this, like the cops, like, you're all in on it. We know what you're doing. It's not a secret. Fucking douchebags. You're gonna arrest me after the show? Fuck you. And then they would arrest him. And he was like, see, I told you so. You know, and it was just like this whole game. And he exposed it. And
Yeah, but what you're doing that, like, you, at least what you kind of informed me about that I didn't know as deep as you did, was the level at which his outside activities were affecting that, which was kind of big. You know, I mean, if okay, I'm speculating, so I'm not saying this is a fact, but what I can imagine is that, like, because it was the FBI, CIA, those bigger agencies that were on his ass. It wasn't just local police. But if they knew this guy that travels all over the place, this full-blown addict who interfaces with not only the big dogs in entertainment, but the big dogs in the world of drug trade, they knew this about him, and they were pinching on him, man, to get some information. That's my guess.
yeah,
That's just my guess.
Yeah, he
It
became
seems like it, though. And so,
yeah, he had
and
to. He
that's,
didn't have a
dude,
choice.
when you throw people under the bus like you're a drug dealer, it's because they're going to throw you in jail for a long time. And obviously he was only cool with Honey going to jail for a long time, not him. Right?
We talked
threw her
about this.
under the bus.
Sometimes though, we talked about this. Sometimes the safest place is in jail. Like when Honey might have had hits, like they might have been trying to hit her, and so you know he threw her under the bus to
Yeah,
put her in
well,
jail to keep her safe for a couple
I
years.
mean, it's all speculative, but sounds possible, right?
Yeah,
It's just that he got in deep because Lenny Bruce was a real smart man. So if he was throwing his own drug dealers under the bus, which by the way means he's got to find a new drug dealer, it's because they were bearing down on him. They were giving
they
him
were the drug dealers.
sometimes after a while,
no,
but not every time. Not every time.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
they were hitting him every way but sideways, right? They hit him every angle they could get to this guy. They were doing it. They tell him it was your show. That's why you're getting a lawsuit. Oh, now it's a drug charge. Like they were pushing him around like a pinball.
Yep.
But
And
the thing
all he
is
was doing was standing up for himself, and it became this whole free speech thing.
I know that part is what I admire about him, and why
like,
I think
hey,
he's
you said the
icon,
word, you
legend.
said the P word, you said the D word, you said the C word,
right?
You said the F word, you know, you said these words. It's profane. And he was just like, look, I'm on a stage. Like this is
Right.
this is an entertainment act. Like
yeah, but yeah, I mean, he got in too deep. And he also
no,
well, I
he
don't know.
wasn't. That's not what that's what they got him for.
Right.
See, it's all they didn't get Al Capone because he killed a bunch of people. They got him on tax fraud. They didn't get
Right.
Lenny Bruce on calling out all the you know, corruption in the police force and all the shit that's happening. They got him on the word the P word.
But that's always what did they get Kanye on? What did they say Kanye was canceled for? It was for something kind of minor, minuscule. Hey, baby.
Yeah, but they got him. They still got him.
I know. They got him on a roach stopping charge or something.
He stomped on a roach accidentally.
You're in jail, dude. We're gonna cancel all your
Dude, did you just kill that ant? Did you accidentally just
You're
step
under
on that ant?
arrest.
You're going to fucking jail, dude, right now.
Oh man. But this is kind of my takeaway right now. like in learning about that aspect of his life, just his outside the stage stuff that caused the chaos, he stood for something that matters for all of us, right? Which is our right to speak. But because of his outside life and his way lack of integrity, right? He just had no integrity in so many ways. He couldn't fight that fight under those circumstances. It wasn't possible. So his cause was noble, but he was not. But he sure did blaze a trail. He opened a door for all these comedians, which is awesome. That's why that's what I admire about him, is his courage. He had a lot of courage. That drug addict guy.
Well, I'm sure he did with all that liquid courage.
Man, dude, that cocktail, I've never heard of a cocktail. That's worse than that's like the most juicy drug cocktail I've ever heard in my life. You get it daily? My God.
Heroin and then
meth, heroin, and Dilaudid mixed. That's bad. I mean, Jesus.
That's not.
I can't imagine how that interfaces with the brain. Like that mix.
That's not it. Honey Harlow. That's not him. Oh my God, it is him. Wow. He looks very familiar.
That's Dustin Hoffman. That's the movie, Lenny.
Yeah.
That's not Dustin Hoffman.
My God.
I mean, that's not.
I was about to say, holy shit, it looks like Dustin.
That's Lenny Bruce right there. He looks like he's in jail right there. This is a really weird, twisted show, man. I mean, because it's like I like, it's cool, but I mean, it's like my forethought is like, let's talk about the climate, that we're in now,
so
and how he wouldn't been able to do it. But the thing is,
next time
that,
we're running, we have less than. Oh, wait.